reading an article written by my next guest, Charles Helm, and a dinosaur hunting colleague about finding dinosaur tracks, the first in the Western Cape. And Charles Helm is an outdoors man, leading researcher in ichnology, which is shorter than ichthyology and entirely different discipline. Hello, Charles Helm. Good afternoon to you.
Hello, John. Good to be with you.
Look, dinosaurs' rich fossil history in South Africa and footprints. I've seen footprints in other parts, but this is, I understand, the first time that dinosaur footprints have been positively identified in the Western Cape.
Well, that's right. As you've said, Southern Africa has a very rich dinosaur track heritage, and it's world renowned. But the closest ones to the Western Cape so far have been up in the northeastern Cape, maybe in the Northern Cape. Most of them are in the Eastern Free State and Lesotho. And so the tracks that we have identified, very definitely the first ones in the Western Cape province, yes.
And it seems odd that it's taken this long to find dinosaur footprints because it's not as if there was thought to be an absence of dinosaurs in the Western Cape. So where there are dinosaurs, there must surely be dinosaur prints.
Well, there've only been two dinosaur bones discovered in the Western Cape.
Oh,
So the notion of, there are mammal-like reptiles which are even older than the dinosaurs. But as far as dinosaurs are concerned, only two bones and not that many exposures of the right age, which is the Mesozoic, the age of dinosaurs. And we have been studying the Cape South Coast for 15 years and more, and but mostly working in the Pleistocene, which is fairly recent. The Ice Age is 100,000 years old, but we knew that there were some deposits of Mesozoic age, in other words, Cretaceous age, along this coastline, and started exploring them. And oh my goodness, it looks like these are dinosaur tracks. So it's a very different age from what we've been working in most of the time. But I was fortunate to be able to invite a colleague from Canada who knows his dinosaur tracks extremely well, way better than I do. And we worked together on this, and he was able to confirm, yes, these are indeed dinosaur tracks. And because they're the first in the Western Cape, they need to be published on. We've just published on that recently. But there's something else about them, and that is that of all these other dinosaur tracks in southern Africa, they are from the Triassic and the Jurassic periods. And then at about 182 million years ago, everything just went quiet because you had these huge basaltic lavas which came out, spumed out, and essentially covered southern Africa. And that's what the Drakensberg is today. And so the entire dinosaur history stopped at 182 million years ago. And the tracks that we have identified are from quite a more recent time, 140 million years ago, at the beginning of the Cretaceous period. And so these are not only the first in the Western Cape, but they also, by a long margin, by 42 million years, the youngest dinosaur tracks in southern Africa.
I don't know why I thought dinosaurs had been found on a fairly regular basis in the Karoo, parts of the Karoo being in the Western Cape, but only two dinosaur bones. So, I mean, there's a lot of dissension, contestation in the world of paleontology and early man and so on. Are these being accepted by the scientific community as genuinely being dinosaur tracks, or are you being asked in very polite scientific ways what you've been smoking?
Yeah, no, there have been no dissenting voices. There's been actually a lot of appreciation because most of the tracks that we found are in profile, so in a cliff face where the dinosaurs deformed the deposits to such an extent that we can say, yes, this was a dinosaur, as opposed to this was an earthquake or this was something else which caused it. But many people have got this idea of a huge flat surface and a nice dinosaur trackway going across it, and it's obvious and it's evident. But we're grateful when we find a surface like that, but more often than not, we find these things in cliff faces and hanging down from ceilings and things like this. So there are different ways in which dinosaur tracks get preserved. And some of the ones we found at this site are actually hanging on ceilings, hanging down from ceilings. They represent the infill of the actual footprint which was made. And it's pretty evident to us they are sauropods, which is those dinosaurs with the very tiny head, the very long neck, the very long tail, and they're huge animals. And we also think we've got ornithopods, which one can call the duck-billed dinosaur group. So two types of dinosaur. And the paleo environment is pretty clear. I mean, they were
Yeah.
probably crossing an estuary, wallowing in channels, on a sandbar, lounging around, walking around. So it's there hasn't been any dissent. There's
Okay.
just been general acceptance and appreciation. Yes.
Going back to what you said, that these would be by 40 million years the youngest dinosaur footprints ever found, and given the location in an area where up to date only two dinosaur bones had been found, to what extent does this possibly change or add to our understanding of dinosaur activity in this part of the world?
Well, I think it's it's a bonus for the Western Cape to be able to say we also have dinosaur tracks here. Um, the age, I mean, absolutely, dinosaurs went extinct around about 65 million years ago. So this is now at the beginning of the Cretaceous period, certainly post-Jurassic period. And it's nice to think that, I mean, the Cretaceous is not normally a time period where people think of it in terms of Southern Africa. And so to be able to say, no, there are Cretaceous dinosaur tracks in Southern Africa is a big deal. And it also is an encouragement to us to say, okay, we found the first area we looked in, we found dinosaur tracks. There are other deposits of the same age in the Western Cape, and we need to go looking, and we need to look with critical eyes and see what we can find. Because if the first one worked, the chances are reasonably good that if we've got deposits of the right age, and they also need to be non-marine, so dinosaurs didn't hang out in the oceans, they hung out on land. So we have to have the right type of rock of the right age, and we need to go looking and see what more we can find.
I note from the article that brought this to my attention, which you co-wrote with Guy Plint, the real dinosaur footprint expert, that you don't identify exactly where you found these footprints. Is that the next step? Why are you protecting the exact location at the moment?
Yeah, I mean the track record, if I can call it that, is pretty dismal. That when people have unrestricted access, most folks just really love it and appreciate it and enjoy the connection with the past. And it just takes one or two individuals to go there with a spray paint or a sledgehammer or whatever and spoil the fun for everyone. So we really want to leave it to the local communities to lead this and to try and do it responsibly and to perhaps have guided tours or however they want to do it. We don't want to dictate to them. And so for us just to come out and say, this is the GPS point where you can go and see these, I don't think it's appropriate. What I can say is that it's a spectacular, rugged, breathtakingly beautiful stretch of coastline.
Oh, can't wait to get those GPS coordinates. I promise to respond respectfully to them. Charles Helm, outdoors man, leading researcher in ichnology. Thank you very, very much indeed.